the resistance.
Yes, everybody, this is Tinman TV. I, of course, am your host, the cold, heartless son of a bitch himself, Tinman Chris Sheldon with the Worldwide Resistance Network, where if you are watching this, you are the resistance. And damn it, I have audio now! But I couldn't get my audio on last tick. We had to end the stream and set everything back up. It was a bitch! But we got everything working. Funny how this seems to happen twice. Yesterday we couldn't get on for 2 hours because of high traffic. And today we had to end the stream early and start it back up because I had no freaking audio. Period. Okay. Once, that's an isolated incident. Twice, that's starting to look a little bit suspicious. Yeah. We're here, ain't nothing gonna stop me. No lack of sponsors, no lack of APAC money. I will push forward with my Meth Monster Blue, the fictitious product that doesn't actually exist. Because again, I don't get APAC money. I don't get APAC money. I don't have no sponsors. I don't have no sponsors. Because we are of the people, by the people, for the people. So everything we do and are is for and because of you. And somebody's tweaking my phone. Why is my phone going off? Fuck you, phone. Everything we do is for you. And everything we are is by you and for you. So, if you like these broadcasts, please share the live feeds. Follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at REALTWWRN. Well, check us out on our online store, REALTWWRN.printify.me for shirts, hats, and other great merchandise at super low prices. You're not going to find lower prices anywhere else. And the merch is just plain badass. So check out the online store, RealTWWRN.printify.me. And as always, come be a part of the conversation. I don't like just talking to myself. I like having people to talk to. Comments are enabled. So if you have any thoughts or opinions or information, please share in the comment section and become a part of the conversation. And on that note, today's topic is Dr. Fauci. Fauci, bad little monkey. I think the best place to open up is literally right here.
Doing here?
I was subpoenaed, Donald. I have a Senate hearing down the street.
You pled the fifth 100 times. Very repetitive. Very suspicious.
104, actually. I counted.
You counted?
I'm a scientist. I count everything.
You also wrote in your diary that you're the most famous person in the country. Your words in a journal.
That was taken out of context.
There's no context that fixes that. I say it and it's true. You say it and it's a cry for help.
I was on every channel for 2 years, Donald. Every network, primetime, morning shows. I had a bobblehead. Brad Pitt played me. Barbara Streisand even emailed me.
I had a building named after me before you had a name tag. Don't compare fame with me. You're a doctor. I'm a brand.
I plead the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I didn't even ask you a question.
It's just practice.
He practiced the fifth on me in my hallway. This man is unbelievable. Rand Paul, if you're watching, hurry up.
Yeah. Dr. Fauci pled the fifth well over 100 times in Congress, despite the fact that he had a presidential pardon from Joe Biden. which, apart from the course, if you did nothing wrong and you're not convicted of any crime, why are you getting a pardon? A preemptive pardon at that. And the question that I have to ask is, how did they know that he was going to need a pardon? Like, what kind of insider information was circulating that warranted the need for a preemptive pardon? I mean, it's one thing to be pardoned after the fact, but to be preemptively pardoned, that's virtually unheard of. So not only did they know that he committed crimes, but again, this is something that nobody else is talking about. They had the foresight to issue a preemptive pardon to this man. Why? What did they know what was coming, and how does this all play out? Is this like part of some grandiose scam? Or did they just know, oh shit, Orange Man's getting back in office, better cover our asses? Or, oh shit, this is going to come out regardless, we better cover our asses. Yes, Conspiracy Anon. Birds of a feather do flock together. And they are all on the same side. And that's kind of what I was alluding to. And it begs the question, was this all part of some grandiose scam? Is he a fall guy? I mean, what is going on here that warrants a preemptive pardon? I mean, I don't think there's ever been a preemptive pardon issued, especially by the President of the United States, in my entire lifetime. Okay, you don't issue a preemptive pardon unless you know that, one, they committed a crime, and two, that they're going to need the pardon. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, nobody is talking about this. Eric says, I don't think any of them are innocent at this point. They're not. No, I really don't think they are. Especially the way Donald Trump has gone off the rails. Like, ever since the whole thing with Charlie Kirk's passing, he's just been a hard left turn or a hard right turn, whatever fucking turn you want to play it. It's like he's gone full-blown puppet. And yes, it's all part of the plan/show. And it's sick. It really is sick. Because most everybody that voted for Trump did so because they thought that he was the wild card that the globalists couldn't control and was going to be their downfall. That it was to defeat one evil, you incorporate another kind of evil. Kind of like the whole Chronicles of Riddick thing. Sometimes good doesn't defeat evil. Sometimes it's another type of evil that defeats evil. And that's what people were thinking. At least, I had a piece of hair floating in front of my face. That's what I think most people thought was going to happen. And maybe he was on the side of the people there for a moment. I highly question that, because you look at his first term, people like Jones argue that he goes, I voted for him the exact same reason the first time. Yeah, but you look at his first presidential administration, Jones pointed out that he wasn't really read in on the globalist system. How do you become president of the United States, the ultimate puppet without the puppet masters coming to you and bringing you up to speed and going, okay, we're actually the bosses. You're the bitch. Do what we say, or JFK. Like, how do you not get read in on that? Unless they were trying to bullshit him like they were bullshitting the American people and the people of the world for decades. I mean, I don't know. It really begs the question. And again, it's kind of why I went out of my way to make this shirt. Mr. Fuck Bucket. Everybody remembers Mr. Bucket from the 90s. Well, meet Mr. Fuck Bucket. Because let's face facts, he's a fuck bucket. And just so everybody knows, I don't pull any punches. They're all evil. I ain't pulling no punches. 43 and 44, I like rabbits. Based off an old cartoon interview I made years ago back when I first started out. You can get both of those and so many more great shirts, all at REALTWWRN.printify.me. Check it out right now. And conspiracy on. After they did what they did to my man John McAfee, everyone in the system seemed to jump in line, so to speak. Yeah, they kind of did. I cannot argue that point. I really cannot argue that point, bro. And that is one thing I can say to your credit, my friend, is that you have always been fairly spot on. Like when you put your mind to it, you tend to dig deep and, like me, bring up the nooks and crannies that other people generally don't talk about. I think that's why you and I hit it off so well. You know, despite any differences we might have had, I can say that for you. Like me, you dig deep and you get to the nooks and crannies and things that most people don't touch on. And that's one big reason why I do respect you. Sorry, I burped. Part of the course from drinking soda. But speaking of Alex Jones, there are some other things that have been happening that I do want to bring up that are worth mentioning as far as Trump goes. Trump announces deal with Putin to release Marine imprisoned for 4 years. Again, you know, we call balls and strikes here on the Worldwide Resistance Network, so we gotta be unbiased. And if something good happens, we got to bring it up. We got to bring it up. So we have that. And there's also, I'll find the other article here. Pardon me 1 second. Video. Pepperoni and gumballs. Where is that damn file? I can't find the file. You can't find it. I know it's here. I will find it. I am going to find it, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. Yeah, man, despite any differences we have, I do respect you, man. I do respect you. I'm not going to agree with you on every single point. And there are points where, you know, to avoid escalation of the situation, sometimes you guys got to take a step back and take a breather. And keep in mind, that's all I did. So please do not take it personal. I just took a step back from a situation that was increasingly escalating, and I didn't want it to escalate further. I wanted to de-escalate the situation. So I removed myself from that situation. So I do hope you understand there. Okay. Found it. Found what I was looking for. Yay. Found what I'm looking for. I'm happy now. I'm smart. Okay. Again, InfoWars, or not InfoWars, Alex Jones. Huge news. President Trump had RFK Jr. and White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller raised the alarm on autism epidemic, implicating vaccines as the primary culprit. The president from a parasuicidal industry, to pump your kids full of shots day after birth with no understanding of long-term consequences has been a medical travesty. Let's go ahead and go to the audio on that.
Decades ago, children received only a small fraction of the vaccines required today. In those times, people were much healthier. And of course, the high rates of autism now observed did not exist. So there's a reason for such epidemic rates of autism. And we're going to bring it back to much closer to where it was.
Just reinforcing something the president said, which is the source of his concern about this issue. And I'll just give an example. In 1970, the biggest epidemiological study at that time in history was performed. And the university scientists from across this country looked at all the 8-year-olds in Wisconsin, about 900,000 children. And they were looking for autism, and they knew what autism looked like. And they came back with an incident rate of 0.8 per 10,000. So less than 1 in 10,000. The rate, according to CDC today in this country, is 1 in every 31 children. In California, it's 1 in every 19 children, 1 in every 12.5 boys. So there has been a dramatic increase. One of the things that the industry likes to say, one of the talking points, which the press loves to parrot, is, oh, we're just noticing it more. But this is an absurdity, and this is an assertion that has been debunked again and again and again by peer-reviewed literature. But it's also debunked by common sense. Because if we were just noticing it more, we would notice it in older groups. But we're not. We're only noticing it in kids who were born around 1989 or after. The older generations, you're not seeing those increases. So something happened in the mid-90s that changed our children, and it has to be an environmental exposure. Because genes don't cause epidemics. They can provide a vulnerability, but you need an environmental toxin. And what the president has charged us with is finding which one of those exposures or which collection of exposures are causing this epidemic. For decades, I fought for a simple principle. When it comes to the health of our children, government has an obligation to follow the evidence wherever it leads. Tell the American people the truth and give parents the information they need to make informed decisions for their families.
Because of your courage and leadership, Mr. President, millions of parents all over America today are breathing an enormous sigh of relief. I say this as the parent of young children myself. Millions and millions of parents feel they've been pressured when their children are just weeks out of the hospital to take 5 shots, 6 shots, 7 shots all at once. They're told it'll be normal. Your kid will have a fever of 103 for 3 or 4 days. Your kid will stop eating for a week. Your kid's going to change all their sleep. Don't worry, it's totally fine. It's totally normal. Nobody has studied it. Nobody's looked at it. Nobody's thought about it. The pressure from the pharmaceutical industry and from aspects of the medical industry to pump your kids full of shots days after birth with no understanding of the long-term consequences has been a medical travesty. This is an issue, Mr. President, that you have been leading on for years. And of course, the man to your left has been leading on this issue for years as well, too.
Real time, uncensored.
Yeah, so it does bear the question, how did this stuff just miraculously happen? Again, it was pointed out that we're not seeing this in older generations, just in younger generations, children, increasing since the late 80s, 90s into present day. Okay, this isn't an observation that can be traced back to the boomers. This isn't, because if that were the case, as it's been propagated, we would see those numbers in people from my generation, the boomers, MTV generation, Generation X, the boomers, so on and so forth. I mean, even the hippies who were fucking blitzed out of their fucking mind doing drugs and shit, you didn't have those side effects. Even with all the drug use, you didn't have those fucking side effects. Okay? And you look at some of these pharmaceutical products that they advertise. Like, I'll sit there and I'll put on a music playlist on YouTube and just work around the house. And when the commercials pop up, like sometimes they'll pop up varying commercials about this, that, and the other. And they'll advertise the product, but and that'll take like the first few seconds of the commercial. But the entire rest of the commercial, which is probably like maybe 2 minutes long or longer, to the point that you just have to skip it, it's all about the side effects. Like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, this is fucking ridiculous. And it cannot be ignored. I mean, when you have a product being advertised and most of the advertisement is a warning against the product and the subsequent side effects. I mean, tobacco products don't even have that kind of shit. They advertise the product and then a quick 2-second spiel at the end. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive substance, blah, blah, blah. That's it. But when you have, here, buy this product, it does this. And then, be warned, this product might do this, this, and this. If you experience this side effect or that side effect, seek medical attention immediately. Some people may experience this, or that, or the other. And, a freaking unicorn horn might grow out of your fucking head and you might start shitting rainbow sherbet kind of thing. Like, what the fuck? I mean, it's to the point that it's that fucking ridiculous. And you look at the media in this. They don't cover this at all. In fact, it was recently documented and reported on by none other than Alex Jones. Granted, that there was recent CIA documents released, and we've covered this in the past, about how we are liquid crystals. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and play that clip. Let's just go ahead and play that clip. I've still got it here. Let's play that. He fucking says it point blank. It hits the nail on the head.
So, CIA declassified documents last week, Operation Artichoke to poison vaccines, food supply, and the water to dumb us down to make us controllable. Now new documents about ESP control, how we're really electrochemical systems, liquid crystals, and the pineal gland, and how most people have microscopic to actual large worm infestations, not just from cats, you name it, like Kennedy has one in his brain, and they didn't tell the public most cancer, breast cancer, brain cancer is worms. Now, this is all over the place. Joe Rogan talks about it, I have for years. But here it is. Scientists and doctors figuring out now, the CIA knew in 1962 that dewormers could reverse most cancers and didn't tell the public. That's mass murder. Here it is.
My parasite medications work against cancer cells. And it turns out that the parasites use mitochondrial substrate level phosphorylation in the tissue. And these embendazole, fenbendazole kill these parasites. So I tried it on the cancer cell, and sure as hell, it targets the mitochondrial substrate and glycolysis. So we have a mechanism now why parasite medications are working. But cancer is not a parasite. All these people say, oh, cancer is a parasite. It's not a parasite. Parasites and tumors use a common metabolic pathway, and a drug that works against parasites can be very effective against cancer. And that's what we begin to see, especially under nutritional ketosis.
So to be clear, the anti-parasite drugs cut off the same mechanism in cancer, but we now know and have known that a lot of cancers from parasites, it's double good. And I don't sell that, but you can buy it online. And my medical doctor told me years ago, take this once a year as a regimen. I do. That's important information you might want to write down, folks, okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you can look it up. Go to the UN's own website. They admit it. Over 2 million people have cognitive disabilities because they do not have enough iodine. In the 20s, they found this. How they put it in the salt. IQs went up about 20 points on average, 15, 20 points. Well, we have the very best atomic iodine in the world. Has been available in several years, ladies and gentlemen. But we have the original X2 back, but even stronger.
Yeah. Iodine helps improve cognitive function. Most cancers are attributed to parasites that can be taken care of easily with dewormers, but yet they charge you hundreds of thousands of dollars for chemotherapy and all this other shit just for you to die a slow and painful death while they bill you the entire way to the fucking grave.
Good day, I'm Bob the Necromancer, and today we're doing an unboxing.
Yep. I went there. I fucking went there. Y'all think I wouldn't go there? How could I not go there? I'm an asshole. But yes, I don't pull my punches. I mean, fact is fact. And again, let's go back to Jones talking about the vaccine plan and what that's all going to entail. And let's go straight to the horse's mouth here.
Pissed off. This is our vindication. This is about saving the children and stopping the UN and the globalists from the next pandemic, lockdown, globalist disease X plan they've got. I report the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that's a philosophical thing that I didn't even realize people had and didn't understand, because people are so black-pilled, so depressed, so pissed off. They get confused when I'm up here bashing Trump for the Iran war, bashing Trump for letting Israel take control of our military, bashing Trump for the record level insider trading. And then when I go, oh, this is something good, what, I'm not supposed to talk about it? I'm not supposed to say, oh, look, the government's up there with studies admitting these shots are hurting kids. We need to stop this. I'm not supposed to warn people, not supposed to show our credibility, not supposed to show how far we've come in fighting this. This is our greatest moments here. This is our vindication. This is about saving the children and stopping the UN and the globalists from the next pandemic, lockdown, globalist disease X plan they've got. No one with an IQ above 70 could disagree with me putting out a video saying this is good news. This is important. Now warn people, because a lot of people still think these shots are great and wonder why their kids in the corner drooling. We have a job to warn people about this. So I've spent my time now explaining really common sense things. I know most of you are smart. You're like, Alex, please don't talk to us like we're 8 years old. I care about the people that are under mind control. I care about people that are in the black pill zone and just know how to bitch. And I care about them. So I do spend time reaching out to them, because you're already awake. You need to be waking up other people. We're trying to get the people that don't know. That's the whole point of this. So I apologize that it is very simplistic. And you're like, of course we understand that. You're not stupid. You were gifted with a good IQ and brought up good and have common sense. So thank your lucky stars every day that you're not the type of people that think I'm covering up for Trump by celebrating something good that happened, okay? You're not stupid. So that's why I'm explaining to people that are, unfortunately, a little bit dense, okay? But I'm going to try to cut back on talking to dumb people, because I know at a certain point you just can't dumb things down enough for them. Powerful truth, powerful information that we now have to get out to the dumbbells. Because just because somebody buys in the system and has Stockholm syndrome and is totally trusting, you can say, well, screw them, they're dumb. Particularly leftists that love to take hundreds of shots if they can and have the highest rates of cancer, death, you name it. You're like, good, they're killing themselves. Their children don't deserve it. I want to explain why I'm so excited about this. This is a hit. This is the best. Royal Flushes, Mega Supreme.
Yeah. So we can acknowledge where Trump does something right. It's a rarity, especially now, but at least in this regard, that's a huge step because they've been doing this for so long. And, especially as it relates to COVID and the vaccine there, everybody's argument to that, even now, especially from the left, is trust the science, 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 trust the science. That's the only go-to. Well, the science shows that the vaccine was ineffective and had a massive death toll. The science dictates that there is no way that a vaccine could have been ready within 2 weeks of the pandemic kicking off without years of research, including clinical trials. So to say that this virus broke out and then a few weeks later we had this magical fucking shot that fixed everything. You take the shot and you're good. But then you needed all these boosters. Okay, the science clearly state. You say, trust the science. Well, the science says vaccine number 1 didn't work. That's why you need vaccine number 2. Trust the science. Okay, science would dictate that if the vaccine works, you would not be in any danger by having any semblance of contact with anybody who was unvaccinated. The unvaccinated would not pose a threat to you. But yet we heard the argument, this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. Well, the science dictates that if something works, it wouldn't matter. Okay? The unvaxxers would be dying off, right? Okay? The science, trust the science when it tells you that most of the fucking death numbers of death caused by COVID were actually fudged. Most of those deaths that were reported as COVID deaths were attributed to something else, and the doctors just fucking put cause of death COVID to get a nice little payday. Okay? The science is investigative. And upon investigation, you look at all these variables. You look at and see that most of these hospital beds were empty. You look and see that this virus was about the equivalent of the common flu. And in many regards, wasn't any different. Trust the fucking science. Put a fucking diaper on your fucking face for the deadliest fucking virus known to mankind as per the media. But, you need a hazmat suit to work around radiation. You need a biohazard suit to work around biohazardous waste. You need oxygen masks and gas masks and varying types of masks for even just painting. Gas masks, SCBA, oxygen tanks. These high-tech things, but yet a face diaper is what's going to save you from the allegedly deadliest virus on the planet? What? Okay, a little piece of cloth, if that. Most of these things were like the equivalent of a chain link fence. Okay, this face mask stopping germs was like saying a chain link fence is going to stop mosquitoes. You just go, what? I mean, common sense. Look at the science. Come on, guys. Trust the science. Okay? You want to cling to the idea of trust the science? Okay, well, let's trust the fucking science here. Look at the science. Look at the damn science. Now, look at Fauci himself in his own public journal. Not even his personal journal that he kept in his dresser drawer at home kind of thing. No, this was a public transcript owned by the federal government. He wrote in this motherfucker all these details. He confessed everything in this public document. And then goes and pleads the fifth after having a presidential pardon, which means he does not have the right to plead the fifth, and he did so over 100 times. So he essentially perjured himself, according to that first video, 104 times. 104 counts of perjury. Is that the correct term? I think that's the correct term. No, not perjury. Contempt. 104 counts of contempt of Congress. 104 counts of contempt of Congress. Now let's look at some of what Fauci has declared over the years. He used to be the face of TV since 2019. Okay, let's check out this little flashback video. And Dr. Fauci tells concerned moms and dads that the COVID shot is safe for pregnant women. Overwhelming balance of risk benefits is in favor of pregnant women getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Turns out, privately, Fauci was himself concerned about the potential adverse side effects. SpaghettiOs.
Tons of them on what to expect, not surprisingly, about COVID-19 and the COVID-19 vaccines, especially about safety during pregnancy. And the vaccine, as you know, is strongly recommended by the CDC, by ACOG, by the Society of Maternal Fetal Medicine for all pregnant women. And yet, vaccine hesitancy has been especially high among pregnant women. And the CDC has reported that vaccination rates are really low compared to the general population among pregnant women. And of course, we all understand pregnancy and worry go together, right? But I'm still hoping you can explain to concerned moms and dads to be, and as a father yourself, why you are so confident that the vaccine is safe and effective to get when you're pregnant, and why should moms not worry so much?
Well, even though this is an issue and a problem that all of us, including myself, when my wife was pregnant with my 3 daughters, I got nervous about everything.
I'm sure you did.
Even as an informed physician, I was always concerned about anything that could have a deleterious effect on my pregnant wife as well as on our soon-to-be-born baby. So that's totally understandable. But the best way to explain that is to look at the facts that are really well known.
Mm-hmm.
And you balance these facts about risk versus benefit. The overwhelming balance of risk-benefit is in favor of pregnant women getting vaccinated against COVID-19. And the reason for that is, look at what we know for sure. What we know for sure, that if a pregnant woman gets infected and gets COVID-19, there are serious consequences for the pregnant woman herself, for the pregnancy, and for the fetus. Mm-hmm. If you look at it, preterm births, all kinds of complications that are exacerbated in a pregnant woman. Then you ask the question, well, are the vaccines safe? And if you look at the literally tens and tens and tens of thousands of women who have been followed by the CDC, who were vaccinated when they were pregnant. There's no indication whatsoever that there's any increase of any adverse issues in a pregnant woman who was vaccinated compared to a pregnant woman who wasn't vaccinated. And we all know that pregnancy, there is always a risk of a spontaneous miscarriage. There's always a situation. There's always situations when women get illness. There could be preeclampsia, things like that. However, when you look at the unvaccinated versus the vaccinated, there is absolutely no increased risk of that. So because of that, the CDC and the ACOG, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, who used to say it is okay for pregnant women to get vaccinated, to change now and say it is recommended that pregnant women get vaccinated. So it's really one of those things that's kind of not a close call. It really is pretty clear that pregnant women should get vaccinated.
Real time, uncensored, unstoppable.
Yeah. Doesn't add up, ladies and gentlemen. It really doesn't add up. And y'all wonder why I put his face on a face mask. And Bill Gates on a face mask. And you can get those at our online store, REALTWWRN.printify.me. Because you know they're always going to try to pull something. You know, how many pandemics have they had? They've been talking about this disease X for a long time. So get your exclusive TWWRN face diapers at RealTWWRN.printify.me. Go ahead and run the commercial, and you can check out all the goodies we have right there on that commercial. So we will be right back, and when we come back from break, we will go into the rest of this whole thing regarding Fauci and whether or not he's actually going to see prosecution, and if not, how that's going to play out. So we will be right back.
Hey everyone, I am Reverend Ordo, co-host of the Roundtable on the Worldwide Resistance Network. Just want to remind you to check me out on Wednesdays for Grey Jedi TV and on Fridays for Grind My Gears. And you'll find me on Minds, Gab, MeWe, Mastodon, Parler, Getter, Tumblr, Scoops, TikTok, and the anonymous Many-Way Network. All right? So enjoy yourselves. Peace out. And these nuts.
You are watching Tinman TV on the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you are watching this, you are the resistance.
Yes, everybody, this is Tinman TV. Welcome back. And if you're just now joining us, up to this point, we have been covering the issue with Dr. Fauci, the botched vaccines, his journal documenting that pretty much everything was a farce, the historical documentation that everything was a farce, his testimony or lack thereof to Congress, constantly the dynamics regarding that. And we're pretty much at the point where we're ready to really just wrap up what's going on with that whole dynamic. There is one last video that I do want to share. But before that, I do want to share. Actually, there's a couple of videos I want to share here. First of all, you got this video here. I forgot about this video. Yeah, we're focusing a lot on InfoWars today, but when they're on point, and I keep saying InfoWars, it's not InfoWars anymore. Fuck InfoWars. InfoWars is gone. But the Alex Jones Network, when they're covering good points, they're covering good points, and I'm not going to refute that point. If it's good information, it's good information. So here's one. This is used. President Trump, HHS head, RFK, and White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller raised alarm on autism epidemic. I do want to play that one more time. Just revisit on that. And then we'll go to our next video on the docket.
Decades ago, children received only a small fraction of the vaccines required today. In those times, people were much healthier. And of course, the high rates of autism now observed did not exist. So there's a reason for such epidemic rates of autism. And we're going to bring it back to much closer to where it was.
Just reinforcing something the president said, which is the source of his concern about this issue. And I'll just give an example. In 1970, the biggest epidemiological study at that time in history was performed. And the university scientists from across this country looked at all the 8-year-olds in Wisconsin, about 900,000 children. And they were looking for autism, and they knew what autism looked like. And they came back with an incident rate of 0.8 per 10,000. So less than 1 in 10,000. The rate, according to CDC today in this country, is 1 in every 31 children. In California, it's 1 in every 19 children, 1 in every 12.5 boys. So there has been a dramatic increase. One of the things that the industry likes to say, one of the talking points, which the press loves to parrot, is, oh, we're just noticing it more. But this is an absurdity, and this is an assertion that has been debunked again and again and again by peer-reviewed literature. But it's also debunked by common sense. Because if we were just noticing it more, we would notice it in older groups, but we're not. We're only noticing it in kids who were born around 1989 or after. The older generations, you're not seeing those increases. So something happened in the mid-90s that changed our children, and it has to be an environmental exposure. Because genes don't cause epidemics. It can provide a vulnerability, but you need an environmental.
It has to be an external factor, not an internal factor.
Has charged us with.
It's not a biological factor, it's an external factor.
Exposures or which collection of exposures are causing this epidemic. For decades, I fought for a simple principle. When it comes to the health of our children, government has an obligation to follow the evidence wherever it leads. Tell the American people the truth and give parents the information they need to make informed decisions for their families.
Because of your courage and leadership, Mr. President, millions of parents all over America today are breathing an enormous sigh of relief. I say this as the parent of young children myself. Millions and millions of parents feel they've been pressured when their children are just weeks out of the hospital to take 5 shots, 6 shots, 7 shots all at once. They're told it'll be normal. Your kid will have a fever of 103 for 3 or 4 days. Your kid will stop eating for a week. Your kid's going to change all their sleep. Don't worry, it's totally fine. It's totally normal. Nobody has studied it. Nobody's looked at it. Nobody's thought about it. The pressure from the pharmaceutical industry and from aspects of the medical industry to pump your kids full of shots days after birth with no understanding of the long-term consequences has been a medical travesty. This is an issue, Mr. President, that you have been leading on for years. And of course, the man to your left has been leading on this issue for years as well, too.
Real time, uncensored, unstoppable.
Yes. So the question I am posing here at this point is going to be, do you think Fauci will face criminal prosecution? Will Fauci face criminal prosecution? Because we already know that he's pretty much full of shit. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump to one last video, and then we're going to get into the dynamics of the question I just posed. So I'm going to jump into that real quick here. Again, article by Alex Jones. Okay. They said Fauci out to make him look like a clown. Fauci, just the guy that gets whacked. He's the fall guy. Top comedian Jim Breuer reveals how Dr. Fauci is used as the fall guy of the entire COVID criminal operation, and his hearings are meant to distract us from the complicit system operating behind him. Alex Jones breaks down how the same diversion tactic is used by the corporations and governments building a mass surveillance system. Yeah, Flock's bad. It's a finger on the bigger system. Let's pull back a little bit and see what it's attached to. So let's go ahead and jump into this.
Senator John Hawley. I loved this guy. If I was you, I'd go check to see who funds him. It's a show, people. And you know what the show is? Distraction. Let me show you how the distraction works with Senator Hawley. Send out Fauci. And they send him out to make him look like a clown. If you ask me, Fauci's just the guy who gets whacked. He's the fall guy. I don't think he even exists anymore. I'm going to say that was an actor. Forget going, hey, man, you guys owe us an apology. The snakes showed themselves. Hey, forget your freedom. Hey, you gotta get back. Your presidents said that. Your senators said that. Your corporations said that. Your baseball owners said that. Your basketball owners said that. Your NFL owners said that. They all said that. The medical industry said that. They all said that. They are all part of the system.
Jim Breuer gets the blue ribbon. Ding, 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 ding. Bingo, 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 bingo. And Breuer had this epiphany going, wait a minute, I figured these Fauci hearings out. They have years of these. He gets caught lying. He's a criminal. He's terrible. But he never gets charged. And they just use him like a chew toy. So we all think the buck stops with him. And I'm just like, yes, this is the level of thinking we need. Yeah, Flock's bad. It's the finger on a bigger system. Oh, Jones is coming for Flock. No, I just said, pull back a little bit and see what's attached to it. That's all I said. And they don't want you doing that.
Sorry.
They don't. Oh, he's with Flock. He's a traitor. He's saying, look at your phone. Look at your car. Look at the light pole. Look at Axon.
Real time, uncensored, unstoppable. AlexJonesLive.com. Take a stand. Share the link.
Do you want to fight? You better believe you got one. I'm going to find it and send it to him. I saw a couple different talk show hosts actually followed and liked. One of them was the popular comedian who's been on the show.
what's his name? He's the guy that does the thing with the bird about Fouci. Brewer. And Brewer had this epiphany, and he was saying, you know, I just figured this out. They want us to only focus on Fauci, and then he's the bad guy, and then we only demonize Fauci, when it was both presidents, Republican and Democrat, that did this, and it was the big institutions that did this, and it was the Pentagon, goes back to Obama actually, that rolled out the COVID and actually had the COVID-19 vaccine ready before they even released COVID. Now, we all know that back from before it happened. We were covering it in 2015, predicting it. We were having Dr. Francis Boyle on in February of 2020, predicting it all before it even happened. But when I see Jim Brewer, yeah, there it is. We'll play that in a moment. Waking up, that, because I saw it without even looking. It's a key term I use a lot. This morning, you know, up since 4 a.m., just scanning news, reading articles, I came across two people, Brewer and one others, going, wait a minute, I figured these Fauci hearings out. They have years of these. He gets caught lying. He's a criminal. He's terrible. But he never gets charged, and they just use him like a chew toy, so we all think the buck stops with him. And I'm just like, yes, this is the level of thinking we... Of course, put Fauci in prison. We're not defending Fauci. We're not defending Flock. We're not defending Palantir. We're saying, why does the corporate media... I remember like 4 years ago, Palantir, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, ABC News, Palantir. And then a couple of years ago, Flock. And I know what it is. I go, oh, it's the other big companies. They want you to only know about that. And I went and looked it up. Sure enough, Flock's small compared to the others. So you have to know the enemy's philosophy. And as bad as Bill Gates is, and I want to see him in prison, he's just a high-level functionary in this. And if you only focus on him and Klaus Schwab, they win again. It's the whole system is what I'm saying. And I harp on this philosophically a lot as well, because once you get this, you can't go back. You can't be told about the matrix. You've got to see it. All right, let's go ahead and go to Brewer, the comedian, who from another angle is hitting the same point. And he's attacking Josh Hawley, who I actually like overall. But his point is, we keep hearing we're going to get arrested. Fauci's going to get it. Human traffickers are going to get it. And then nothing ever happens. Well, that's the Justice Department's fault. But I think in general, what Brewer is saying is true, in that we're all told just to hate Fauci and stop there. No, we need to go all the way up to the top of the IMF, the World Bank, the UN, the Pentagon at the top that was running this under Obama's initiative that continued on. And they had COVID-19 2 years before on the shelf, both the virus and the vaccine. That's been declassified. So why are we still on, did it come out of a lab? Did it come out of Wuhan? Was it man-made? We told you that before they even released it, where it was coming from, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. But the thinking of Brewer is exactly where you and I all need to be. And then, wait a minute, why isn't this guy charged? Well, that's because he's a chew toy. It's just, he's the bad guy. And he is the bad guy. But he's the fall guy. Not that he's innocent. God, I can see the headlines now. Jones defends Fauci. I did not do that. I did not. I want him in, hell, I want him in a supermax prison. I want him charged with mass murder. After tried by a jury of his peers, I think he should be executed. Nuremberg violations. But what about the people that cooked it up above him? Because he was a high-level general. He was a high-level manager, but he didn't cook this up. Why does it always stop at Fauci? And notice we can never go past Fauci, because if we get Fauci, he'll start singing about all of his bosses. That's why they can never prosecute even their high-level minions, is because it'll break through to the guys on top. And I know most of you get that. You go, Jones, we all know that. Remember, I'm not talking all the time to the smart people. How are we ever going to inform the people that are ignorant if we don't talk at their level? Now, you should just put up with me, okay? I think I know what I'm doing here. Let's go to Brewer. Here it is.
Senator John Hawley. I loved this guy. If I was you, I'd go check to see who funds him. It's a show, people. And you know what the show is? Distraction. Let me show you how the distraction works with Senator Hawley. Send out Fauci. And they send him out to make him look like a clown. If you ask me, Fauci's just the guy who gets whacked. He's the fall guy. I don't think he even exists anymore. I'm going to say that was an actor. Forget going, hey, man, you guys owe us an apology. The snakes showed themselves. Hey, forget your freedom. Hey, you got to get back. Your presidents said that. Your senators said that. Your corporations said that. Your baseball owners said that. Your basketball owners said that. Your NFL owners said that. They all said that. The medical industry said that. They all said that. They are all part of the system.
Jim Burr gets the blue ribbon. Ding, 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 ding. Bingo, 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 bingo. Yeah, flock's bad. It's the finger on a bigger system. Oh, Jones is coming for flock. No, I just said, pull back a little bit and see what it's attached to. That's all I said. And they don't want you doing that. They don't, oh, he's with flock. He's a traitor. He's saying, look at your phone, look at your car, look at the light pole, look at Axon,
Ladies and gentlemen, Bigley has launched an online pharmacy, 1776 RX.
Yeah. So Robert Burr makes a very good point. Fauci is just a fall guy. There's an entire intricate network. He's just a front runner. But you got the bigger network at play here. But even with just Fauci, okay, most people don't like Fauci. Most people don't like Bill Gates. And most people understand that there's a much bigger system at play here. And they're just the front runners. They're just the public figures, just like our politicians. They're just puppets. But even at that, we want to see prosecutions. Okay? Just like with Epstein. Oh, somebody killed Epstein. There was this big ass freaking organization that Epstein was running. Well, who was he running it for? Yeah, he was a top dog in that whole thing. But obviously he knew some shit. Some people probably even more powerful than him, which is why he got whacked. If it wasn't just a show and he's now living somewhere under a different identity, living his best life, having completed his mission, and somebody else is running it. In fact, they've been talking, I've seen it quite a bit online about the Trump family going around and allegedly setting up the new Epstein Island as if they didn't already have a backup. And we've already been hearing all about that to begin with. But again, this is a very strong network. There were people above Epstein. There were people below Epstein who didn't want their secrets told. And somebody obviously had enough power to say, we don't want Epstein talking. So Epstein's no longer a factor. Just like they killed Osama bin Laden. We didn't kill Saddam Hussein right off the bat. We captured him, made sure it was him, tried him, questioned him, and then he was executed. But we've had foregone all of that and iced somebody who was allegedly Osama bin Laden, Tim Osman, and then dumped their body in the ocean so it couldn't be examined. The person couldn't, they weren't captured, so they couldn't be questioned, interrogated, or any of that. You know, if you got the head of an entire terrorist organization, you got some questions for the guy, but yet we didn't get that. Begs the question. Same with Epstein. And it's probably going to be the same thing with Fauci. He might see criminal prosecution. He might go to jail. But then it'll all just go away, or he'll be offed and removed from the public eye, and we'll just be told, just like we were being told about the Epstein thing, Quit talking about it. Quit talking about it. So that's probably what's going to happen. But then again, you look at the DOJ that we are dealing with, and Toad Blanche now being the top dog in the DOJ. Fucking Toad Blanche. Why the fuck would you appoint him? My God, I understand he's an attorney, but damn it, if he is not the most useless fucking boob. And more than just useless, he is literally like the biggest undermining weasel that Trump could have aligned himself with. I mean, whether you think Trump's gone sideways or not, even before that, why, as a Republican president, would you hire a Democrat lawyer and then appoint them to the DOJ? What? Does that not just scream conflict of interest, or am I just crazy? Like, there's somebody else in a think, or am I just crazy? Like, seriously. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? So, what if Toad Blanche lets Fauci off the hook? I mean, we've seen these botched indictments before. What if it happens again under Toad Blanche? What then? And we're just going to be told, shut up about it. Quit talking about it, just like we're told. Quit talking about Epstein. Quit asking about the files. Don't ask about JFK or RFK or MLK or 9/11 or anything else that matters. You know, maybe let's ask about Jekyll Island, 1912, 1913. The formation of the Federal Reserve and the IRS. You know, maybe some documents that need to be released in regards to those events. No, we don't talk about those things. We're not encouraged to talk about those things. So, and people are getting pissed off. Nobody cares about the fucking aliens. Nobody gives two shits about the fucking aliens. Oh, you're going to get disclosure on the aliens, and we got a bunch of nothing burgers. Fuck that with a big dick. Fuck that with a big dick. Even J.D. Vance, who's a freaking globalist puppet, and a lot of people will argue is an Israeli plant. You know, whether you believe that or not, I don't know. And Jones seems to like him, but one thing I noticed in regards to that is that we notice that most of our history is written by the victors. Or as they say in Braveheart, history is written by those who have hanged heroes. Okay? If our media is a lie, you can bet that our history is probably a lie, at least in large part. But yet we, including Jones, cling to history as our primary source for information. But yet, you look back just not even a century ago, we had herbal-based medicine, frequency-based medicine. All that was suppressed and thrown out in favor of petroleum-based medications. And all the medical textbooks were rewritten to fit that narrative. Everything you were taught, thrown out in favor of the Rockefeller oil production medication system. And it's just gotten worse from there. CIA experimenting on us, suppressing information. Oh, we've had the cure for cancer since the 1950s, but yet we're not going to tell you, oh, just take dewormers. No, we're not going to tell you that. We're going to charge you tens of thousands of dollars for chemotherapy that is hit or miss. and you're going to eventually die anyway, and we're going to bill you all the way to your fucking grave. Again, gotta say it.
Good day, I'm Bob the Necromancer, and today we're doing an unboxing.
Yep. Unboxing the truth right there, everybody. Okay, they even said, marijuana has medicinal purposes. Increases appetites for cancer patients. In some cases, has been known to cause some cancers to go into remission depending on the stage. And there's other variables like, seriously, ivermectin. Huge benefits with ivermectin, but yet they suppress that information. Okay? And yet we're supposed to trust our government and believe that they've got our best interests in hand.
We need to go now. The deep state is scraping our signals. They're eating the babies. No time to explain.
Yep. We can't trust the system. We can't trust the system. We can't trust our own history. We can't trust those who wrote history. We can't trust those who wrote our medical books. We can't trust a damn thing. And people are waking up to this. People are wise to it. I mean, again, look at Brewer. He's wise to it. So what happens if Fauci gets offed? Or if nothing happens to Fauci, what are the American people going to do? People are already waking up to this. What's going to happen? We've asked this question many, many times here at the Worldwide Resistance Network on air. How much more can the people be pushed before violent revolution becomes an inevitability? Now, I'm not advocating for violence, but I must acknowledge the reality that people can only be pushed so far before they start pushing back. Now, not even a century ago, you had people being rode out on rails and violent retaliation from the public against politicians and corrupt leaders and media personnel and so forth. Okay? Back in the day, not even 100 years ago, if you lied to the public, if you're a member of the media or a member of government and you did dirty, your ass was grass. And do you honestly think that we are that far off from going back to that point, especially when even Trump's own base is screaming at him, going, "Why must you fail me so often?" I mean, come on, guys. I mean, how much longer can people be pushed before they push back? Okay, why do you think they put Andrew Tate in jail? Because he's encouraging people to be masculine. He's encouraging society to be that. And they can't have that. They can't have strong masculine men standing up for themselves. They can't have good, strong, competent men being good husbands, leaders, providers, and protectors to their women and children. No, we got to have the feminism with women running around being fucking whores. And and do not get me wrong, I've got nothing wrong with a lady in the streets, a freak in the sheets kind of shit. But you know what? There's a time and a place to get freaky deaky, and it ain't 99% of the fucking time in terms of your day-to-day activity. Okay? Feminism has failed women, has destroyed the family, and demonizes men. And men became emasculated and beta cuck little bitches. Why? Because beta cuck little bitches don't push back. Just fucking fall down and be like, "Ah, my pussy." They won't get back up and fight, but people like Andrew Tate, Alex Jones, myself, and others, will push back. Hell, I'll raise hell over a ham sandwich. In fact, I did that just today. Okay, I was talking to a friend of mine, the young lady who provided the sound bites for the comeback on the show, post-commercial, the post-commercial audio. That young lady is a very dear friend of mine that I recently reconnected with. And a big shout out to her, and thank you for providing the audio. Your shirt is in the mail, honey, and should be there by Thursday. But I was talking to her about it, and that I'm not that beta anymore, like, because she used to know me back in the day, and there was that prospect. But I was living in Lucid's garage at the time when it was around the time that we were doing the weekly reports, if I remember. Yeah, it was the weekly reports, and I was living in Lucid's garage. My confidence wasn't exactly peak. I wasn't exactly leader, provider, and protector living in my buddy's garage. So, me and this person reconnected, and I'm like, I'm not that person anymore. Not only do I have my own place, I'm financially well off and all that in a bag of chips, but I found my confidence. I don't let myself get pushed around anymore. So much so that, I don't even take shit when they fuck up my order at Arby's for a ham sandwich. I ordered roast beef and cheddar yesterday and wound up with 2 ham sandwiches. And after the round table last night, I went to eat them. I'm like, this is a funny tasting roast beef. Come find out. Look at my receipts. Ham sandwich. What? So yeah, I went back today and got my roast beef and cheddars. Like, hey, you guys fucked up my orders yesterday. I was like, okay, yeah, we'll fix it. Wasn't a big thing. I didn't go in there acting stupid, but you know what? I didn't take no bullshit. Hey, you fucked up my order. I wanted my roast beef. I wanted my damn roast beef. You fucked up my order, damn it. I went back and got my roast beef at no additional charge. You bet your ass I got my roast beef. Because I don't get pushed around. I ain't no beta bitch. Okay? And why do I bring this up? Because if you don't stand up for the small things, how are you going to stand up for the big things? Yeah. A ham sandwich in contrast to a beef and cheddar? Yeah, that's small potatoes. But if you let the small things slide, it's like the old saying, you give them an inch to take a mile. And it's little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And that's how it's been, incrementalism. And now we are where we are. And people like Andrew Tate, myself, Jones, and so many others. We push back. We expose the establishment. We ask the questions that most people are afraid to ask. We look at the angles that most people don't necessarily look at. We here at the Worldwide Resistance Network pride ourselves. I guess pride shouldn't be the appropriate word because I try to avoid that. But one of our staples of the Worldwide Resistance Network is covering the angles of things that otherwise wouldn't be covered. Cover the topics and the angles that most people generally overlook. And ask the questions that otherwise wouldn't be asked in conjunction. So we push back. And the establishment don't like that. You see what's happening to Andrew Tate. You see what happened to Alex Jones. You see, we all saw what happened to the late Charlie Kirk, God rest his soul. They don't want strong, masculine men informing the populace and encouraging men to be strong and masculine and be true masculine, not toxic masculinity as it's commonly referred to. No, true masculinity, leaders, providers, protectors of ourselves, our homes, our partners, our children's, our communities, our country, our world. Bullies don't like it when somebody pushes back. They like easy prey. And we're not easy prey, and we're encouraging you not to be easy prey. Which is why they fight so hard against us and try to fuck our algorithms. So that's why we say, if you're watching this, you are the resistance. Because everything we do is of, by, and for you. So again, if you like these podcasts, share the live feeds, share the retransmissions, follow us on our various social medias, X, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, all at REALTWWRN. Check out our online store. Tons of great merchandise here. You know, this equipment doesn't pay for itself. This studio, this digital studio that we use, just dump $215 into a yearly subscription for that, okay? The prices add up. So we can't do this without you. Otherwise, it's all out of my pocket. So I fight for you. Help me help you. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and put the turkey in the oven. And we're going to play some audio. So again, check out our online store, REALTWWRN.printify.me. Follow us on our various social medias, all at REALTWWRN. Keep the conversation going. Share the live feeds. And until tomorrow night on Grey Jedi TV with Reverend Ordo on the Anonymous Republic Network, I bid you all adieu. Stay strong. Stay safe. God bless you and keep you, all of you, my brothers and sisters in Christ. And till tomorrow, you're watching this. You are and will always be the resistance. Good night.
If you can hear this, you are not alone. This is the resistance.